Danny Bucket, the most barrel-chested man in the world. He does not currently have a job and spends his enormous amount of free time mostly fishing and drinking, with a little bit of dancing. He has recently noticed some excess fat storage that has started to contribute to his ability to move around normally, and he wants to make a change. When we did the walking gait test from anterior and posterior view, we found his feet flattening and no findings again from the lateral view. For range of motion testing, I decided to test dorsiflexion and eversion of the foot and ankle as well as knee extension. During dorsiflexion, there was restriction on both the right and left ankles, 15 degrees when normal is 20 degrees. This is likely contributed mainly to overactive lateral gastrocnemius and possibly underactive anterior tibialis, maybe posterior tibialis. For eversion, we found 35 degrees on the right ankle, which is past normal due to ankle sprains during past athletic events, and left ankle or foot was normal. Knee extension, there was again restrictions on the right and left, about 110 degrees each when normal is 120. It is likely hindered due to an overactive biceps femoris, tightness in that muscle. For manual muscle testing, we went with anterior tibialis, the medial hamstring complex, the semimembranosus and semitendinosus, as well as the tensor fasciae latae, and they were all three nice and strong, as we would expect from a strapping young lad. On the static posture analysis from the anterior view, I found flat feet and his knees falling in, or knee valgus. There was no findings on the lateral view, and posterior had the same findings as anterior. When we went to the overhead squat test, his knees again moved even inward more significantly, and he has excessive forward lean, and his arms fall forward into the lean. We begin the program with inhibitory techniques, which are going to be performed here with a foam roller. And with his lateral gastrocnemius is what's going to be rolled out. Place the foam roller down, and he's going to set his leg upon it. He's going to place as much pressure as possible. I'm going to have him slightly rotate towards the outside to the lateral gastrocnemius in order to get as much pressure as possible. I have him slowly rotate around until he finds a good pressure point, and we go ahead and hold it on that. Then we're going to switch legs and go ahead and repeat the cycle on the other side, just to get that muscle worked out and loose any knots that are occurring up in there. Next, I had Danny switch positions, and we're going ahead to roll out the biceps femoris on the back of his leg. We're going to work on it left side followed by the right side, and the same process we followed with the gastrocnemius. He's going to roll around until he finds a good point and hold that pressure on and work it out for about 30 seconds. Following biceps femoris, we switched Danny over to his side for to roll out the tensor fasciae latae, the band along the lateral aspect of his legs. This was definitely Danny's favorite part of the foam rolling process. It seemed to put him through a lot of pain, but that means we're getting some good work done here. As you can see me, I'm cheering him on as he rolls it out, and we're going to go ahead and switch sides and get the other side, and the same kind of process as we did with the gastrocs as well as biceps femoris. Okay, after taking Danny through his self-myofascial release process with the foam roller, we move on to the static stretch portion of this. We're going to do the gastrocnemius. I go ahead and point that out there on the back of his leg. He's in position with his arms up on the wall, his leg extended fully back, putting a lot of pressure into that, and we go ahead and maintain that stretch on his right leg followed by his left leg for about 30 seconds. Get it nice and loosened up. We're going to move on to a soleus stretch since this is in nearly the same position. So he's going to lean closer to the wall and press his knee forward, which is going to move the stretch to a deeper portion of his leg and get the soleus working there. He's going to hold that on his right leg and soon switch over to the left. We're stretching out the gastroc and soleus because of the overhead squat issues that we had before. The tightness definitely contributes to the overcorrection of him leaning forward on the overhead squat, as well as having some impact on pulling his knees inward, his valgus knee issues. So stretching that out should allow it to release a little bit. Next, we're going with a static stretch of the tensor fascia latae. Danny's going to get into this kneeled position and lean opposite the TFL that we are trying to stretch here, and a nice stretch on that side. The TFL is involved in medial rotation of the leg, which is definitely overly powerful in the case of Danny's valgus knee issues. So we're just going to go ahead and stretch that out for about 30 seconds on each side. And repeat it on the other side here. He's just going to maintain that same strong position. Following the TFL stretch, we're going to a static biceps femoris stretch now. He's going to lay down on his back and he's going to pull his leg up and a little bit diagonal across, trying to get that biceps femoris stretched out there. The biceps femoris is likely tight with Danny's case because of the inward position of his knees that they are constantly in. Puts a lot of stress mainly on the short head of that biceps femoris, which just contributes to extra tightness, which will cause further issues if not dealt with. So we're going to do the same process of 30 seconds about on each side. Pull that. Now we're going to move on to activation of the anterior tibialis. I'm going to put downward pressure for a 4 count as he pulls upward, and then release of a 2 count. And we're going to repeat that about 10 times. We're going to activate the anterior tibialis while loosening that tightness in the gastrocnemius. We're going to strengthen it and try and improve that dorsiflexion that was restricted before, which will add to overall muscle balance for Danny, and we'll be able to perform more functionally overall. We're going to just repeat that process on each side, now with the left leg, and also do activation of the posterior tibialis, which requires more of a internal rotation, and that will not be videoed, but we did it. We have this band set up here, and Danny's going to go ahead and stretch that to the outside, which is going to work his glute medius. The glute medius is the opposite action performed by the TFL, as it is using lateral rotation of the leg. I explained to Danny here to try and rotate his leg and rotate his foot laterally to really focus on that glute medius, and he's going to repeat this action about 12 times. Then we're going to go ahead and activate the medial hamstrings. Weakness in the semimembranosus and semitendinosus are likely contributing to letting Danny's knees cave inward. So we're going to strengthen them, along with loosening the biceps femoris earlier is going to help to let his knees fall out to a regular standing position. So we're going to repeat that motion about 12 times, curling that leg up and activating those medial hamstrings. Then he's going to switch to the other side and repeat that over again. Now for the integration phase, we're going to go with this to activate the entire foot and ankle chain. We're going to do a single leg balance reach. First, Danny's going to perform it here in the sagittal plane, forward and back under control, just to activate those muscles and get them moving correctly. He's going to repeat that on each leg. Next, we're going to move on to the single leg balance reach, but now in the frontal plane. You're going to add a little more difficulty to this integration, some more stabilizers involved as he reaches. He's going to repeat that same process on each leg, moving to the left. And lastly, we're going to do the single leg balance reach, but in the transverse plane. Danny's going to swing his foot around to the back. He's really going to engage the chain throughout his whole body, having to use all those stabilizers in the hips, knees, and ankles. He's going to repeat this on both legs, the same as the previous two And for our last step in Danny's program, we busted out some big weights, and we're going to have him do this step up to balance here on the stairs. He's got those weights for a little extra resistance. He's a pretty strong guy. He's going to step up with one leg, down with the opposite, and repeat that, going back and forth, just integrating all the muscles of this chain together, trying to get him firing all at once and balance. And that's it. There's Danny's program. He's all stretched out, warmed up, and ready to get going. We're going to keep Danny on this awesome program, getting those muscle imbalances worked out. He's definitely got a great future ahead. He's one hefty piece of man athlete, and he's going to do some great things in the gym and bring some better health into his life. He's going to be able to interact with family and everything, and it's going to be awesome. He's ready to go.